Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Bingxuan. The study I'm gonna report today is my MA dissertation in Lancaster University. The effects of mnemonics and word similarity on Ethel vocabulary learning. First of all, let me define an important concept, that is, learning an English word. In my study, learning an English word includes learning its spelling and building the connection between the spelling and its Chinese translation. In the following parts, I will call the connection English to Chinese connection for short. Then, let's see the contents of my study. Mnemonics. As a factor that influences vocabulary learning, my study is to compare the word part technique and the linkage technique. However, given that the creation of linkage technique also borrows features from the keyword method, I will also give it a brief introduction. The keyword method includes two steps. First, based on the similarity of pronunciation, the learner shall derive a Chinese word from the English word. The Chinese word is the so-called keyword. Second, the learner shall use a mental image or a sentence to link the keyword to the Chinese translation. For example, when a Chinese learner of English attempts to connect Bingxuan with Andun, she can firstly derive a keyword 影视公司 from Bingxuan based on their similarity of pronunciation. Then, by generating a Chinese sentence, 影视公司使这个演员安顿下来, the learner can link 影视公司 to 安顿. However, due to the shortcomings of the keyword method, Wei proposes the word part technique. The word part technique includes three steps. First, the learner shall find the non-English word which shares the same word part with the new English word. In the process, the shared word part can be identified. Second, by referencing Wei and Nations table, a table includes the most useful English word parts. The learner can identify the meaning of the word part. Third, the learner shall generate a sentence to link the word part to the Chinese translation of the new English word. For example, when a learner attempts to connect digress with 离题, she shall firstly find another non-English word which shares the same word part with digress. For example, progress. Then, she can identify grass as the shared word part. According to Wei and Nations table, the meaning of grass is step. Therefore, she can generate a sentence to link grass to 离题. For instance, 离题 means stepping out from the topic. Although Wei proves the effectiveness of the word part technique over the keyword method, there are some limitations of it. First, not all English word involves a shared and eligible word part. That is, WPT may be not applicable to all English words. Second, the connection between the word part and its meaning is covert to the L2 learners, which poses difficulty on the use of WPT. Third, using WPT to learn English words may cause semantic deviation. Fourth, WPT only employs the learner's visual modality. Fifth, WPT only employs the learner's English knowledge. In order to make up for the shortcomings of the WPT, the linkage technique is proposed. The figure shows the relationship among the three mnemonics. The linkage technique also includes three steps. First, the learner shall derive two or more word parts from the English word. Second, if the word part bears a meaning and it is known to the learner, she can directly use the word part in the next step. If the word part bears no meaning, she shall assign a meaning to the word part to make it meaningful for her. Third, the learner shall generate a sentence to link the word parts to the Chinese translation. For example, when a learner attempts to connect very with 谨慎, she can firstly derive two word parts from very. For instance, were and why. Then, given that were has already had a meaning in English and provided that the learner knows it, she can directly use the word part in the next step. As for why, given that it's a letter bearing no meaning, the learner can assign y intersection to y based on its shape. Then, the learner can generate a sentence to link the two word parts to Bingxuan. For instance, in a war, the army must be Bingxuan when marching to a Y intersection. Given that the linkage technique is newly proposed and still lacks empirical support, the study attempts to fill the gap by comparing it with WPT and the self-strategy technique. Therefore, the research questions are: Besides, another factor also attracts my attention, that is, word similarity. Previous research focuses on either spelling similarity or meaning similarity, and it's found that no matter words with similar spellings or meanings, they are more difficult to learn than those with dissimilar spellings or meanings. So I wonder, if I integrate the two factors into one, are the similar words still more difficult to learn? Based on it, the fourth question is: are dissimilar words easier to learn than similar words in FO vocabulary learning? In order to answer the above questions, experiment and questionnaire are chosen as the methods. Let me introduce the experiment first. 44 Chinese learners of English are assigned to 3 groups to participate in the experiment. The classification of the 3 groups is based on the 3 levels of mnemonic. So mnemonic is the between subject factor. As for the material, generally there are 2 choices: real words and artificial words. However, both of them have problems. For example, when using real words, they may be unknown to some subjects while known to the others. As a result, real words may influence the reliability of the experimental results. When using artificial words, although they are new to every subject, the generalizability of them may be doubted. Therefore, I choose semi-artificial words as the material. After all, these words look like real words on one hand and are new to every subject on the other hand. Besides, word similarity is also a factor and has 2 levels in my study, so I designed 2 sets of semi-artificial words as the material. The similar set includes 6 words with similar spellings and meanings. The dissimilar set includes another 6 words with dissimilar spellings and meanings. Each subject has to learn the 2 sets in the experiment, so word similarity is a within-subject factor. Then, let's see the phases of the experiment. There are 4 phases: introductory phase, training phase, memorizing phase, and testing phase. The introductory phase is to introduce the procedure, requirements, and a particular mnemonic to a particular group. The training phase is to let the subjects learn a set of words using the mnemonic assigned to them, and finish a simulated test. In this way, they may be more familiar with the mnemonic and the following phases. Then, let's shift to the memorizing phase. Now, I'm asking you to imagine that you are the subject of the LT group and participate in the experiment in person. Let's get started. First of all, a set of words and their Chinese translation will be presented in a slide together for 5 seconds, so that you can have an overview of what you will learn. Then, you will learn those words one by one. For example, in learning duples, the word will stay for 22 seconds. During the period, you will be asked to learn its spelling and the Chinese translation. After that, the word will vanish and the next word will appear. In order to guarantee that you use LT rather than other mnemonics for each word, I will provide the word parts, their meanings, and the sentence which are necessary for the use of LT. After learning this set of words, you will learn another set. After learning both sets, the memorizing phase ends, and we will move to the testing phase. In the testing phase, there are 4 types of tests. All of them are to test your learning effects of those words. Specifically, the first 2 types are to test word spellings, the other 2 types are to test the English to Chinese connection. In terms of the delivering and receiving manner, I will deliver the first test to you. After you finish it, you give the completed version back. Then, the second, the third, the fourth test will follow the same manner till I receive the completed version of all the tests. Then, the immediate test ends, and you will be reminded not to review those words. After 1 day, you will receive the 4 tests again as the post-test. After the post-test, the experiment ends. Then, let's move to the questionnaire. The questionnaire aims to retestify the experimental results and provide possible explanations for them. So I designed 4 subjective questions. They are listed on the right-hand side. The questionnaire is delivered to the subjects after they finish the experiment. Now let's move to the final section, results and discussion. By employing a 3x2x2 maneuver, the experimental results show that there is a main effect for mnemonic. Given that mnemonic has 3 levels, a post hoc test is carried out. It's found that both LT and WPT don't outperform the self-strategy technique in terms of effectiveness. However, LT is very significantly superior to WPT in terms of effectiveness. As for word similarity, there is no main effect for it, so dissimilar words are not easier to learn than the similar words. Then, by analyzing the 44 questionnaires and carrying out the chi-square test, the results show that, in terms of number, the subjects who support the LT are significantly higher than those who support WPT, and the subjects who think similar words are more difficult are not significantly higher than those who think dissimilar words are more difficult. In other words, the results of the questionnaires are consistent to the experimental results. So why? What are the possible reasons behind the results? By summarizing the subject's answers to the questionnaire, there are 2 main reasons accounting for the superiority of LT over WPT. First, the choice of the word part in WPT is less liberal. Second, the connection between the word part and its meaning is covert in WPT. By relating the 2 reasons to previous research, I found the level of processing model can support the first one, while the input hypothesis can support the second one. Then, in terms of the learning difficulty, why do the dissimilar words show no significant difference with the similar words? Based on the subject's answers, the main reason lies in the similar words. In other words, the similar words are not difficult as expected. Then, the question shifts why the similar words are not as difficult as expected. That may be because the difficulty caused by the similar meanings is offset by the easiness resulted from the similar spellings. It's easy to understand similar meanings cause the difficulty because it's consistent to the previous research. However, why do similar spellings lead to the easiness, which is opposite to the previous research? In explaining that, Hunt's distinctiveness hypothesis provides a possible way. If you are interested, you can ask for more details in Q&A. Alright, the above is a brief introduction of my study. This is the bibliography. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.